You know, you would really think that $1 billion Microsoft data center moving right into your backyard would just, well, it would solve all your local government's financial problems overnight, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you'd expect universal relief across the board.
Right. But what if I told you that that exact same data center is actually a primary reason your local middle school is severely overcrowded, or that your household water is, being heavily rationed?
Yeah, and that your credit card is completely maxed out just trying to buy normal groceries.
Exactly. It's wild. Welcome to today's deep dive. It is Monday, June 8th, 2026, and today we're looking at a really dense stack of economic intelligence reports.
Specifically the ESR protocols.
Yeah, the ESR protocols. And they are heavily focused on the North Carolina Foothills Corridor, zooming in on Catawba County and Hickory, basically.
But we aren't just staying local.
No, not at all. We're going to connect these very specific, ground level signals directly to massive national and global trends for you.
Because the mission for you today is to really uncover something our sources are calling the infrastructure premium.
Or the fixed cost collision. I've seen both terms used.
Right. We're exploring why a booming, high-tech local economy is simultaneously creating this extraordinary financial strain for everyday households and local governments.
Okay, let's unpack this, because honestly, if you only look at the headline numbers, the economy right now, both nationally and down in that Catawba region, it looks completely unstoppable.
It really does.
It's like dropping a massive twin-turbo V8 hypercar engine into a quiet country road chassis. You hit the gas, and the numbers are just spectacular.
Yeah, the National Jobs Report for May 2026 just dropped, and the U.S. added 172,000 jobs.
Which blew past all expectations, right?
Completely blew past them. And unemployment is sitting at a very healthy 4.3%.
Right. And then you look at the Purchasing Managers Index, the PMI.
Yeah, the manufacturing and services sectors are showing really solid expansion. Manufacturing just hit 54.0.
Which is, the strongest reading since May of 2022?
Exactly. It's a massive high.
So that's the national level. But locally, Catawba County looks like an absolute economic fortress. I mean, the local unemployment rate down there is a tiny 3.4%.
Wow.
Yeah. And manufacturing makes up nearly a third of their entire workforce. Plus, the corporate investments flowing into this specific region are just staggering.
Yeah, let's talk about those. Microsoft is currently restarting a massive $1 billion data center footprint.
$1 billion.
$1 billion. And it's spread across 4 different regional campuses. Plus, Corning and Meta just broke ground this week on a huge optical fiber cable factory expansion in Hickory.
And that's directly linked to the global artificial intelligence boom right now.
It is. That project alone is bringing a share of 3,000 new manufacturing jobs, which they're splitting between North Carolina and Texas.
Okay, so hearing all of this, it sounds like this region is just winning the economic lottery.
On paper, yeah, it really does.
But I have to push back on this premise. Because if unemployment is at 3.4% and literally thousands of high-paying tech jobs are flooding the corridor, shouldn't these households be flush with cash?
You would think so.
Right. Why do all these local intelligence reports keep mentioning words like, pressure and delinquency and budget shortfalls? If everyone is making tech boom wages, a slightly higher utility bill just shouldn't matter.
What's fascinating here is the concept of physical capacity. The economy isn't collapsing at all. It is physically running out of room.
Wait, running out of room? Like literally?
Literally. The friction comes from the fact that tech boom wages are highly concentrated to certain workers, but the infrastructure costs are distributed to everyone. Every single piece of this massive tech growth requires physical infrastructure. It requires a concrete slab, specialized power grids, massive underground pipes. I mean, digital infrastructure is not weightless.
Right, the cloud still lives in a building.
Exactly. It requires thousands of tons of concrete and steel just to exist, a building that completely monopolizes local resources.
So when Microsoft starts these vertical builds in, Conover, Hickory, Maiden, and Newton all at the same time...
They aren't just hiring software engineers.
Right.
They are locking up all the specialized electrical trades in the entire region. They are absorbing the concrete supply and all the heavy machinery across the whole corridor.
Wow. So if you're just a local business...
Yeah, if a local hardware store wants to expand their warehouse or a local developer wants to build a standard, suburban subdivision, their construction costs skyrocket.
Because the multi-billion-dollar tech giants have just completely cornered the regional materials and labor markets.
Exactly.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. Because it isn't just concrete and labor that they're absorbing, it's the literal water in the ground.
Yeah, the utility strain is immediate.
Yeah.
And it's severe.
Hickory is currently operating under a Stage 2 low-inflow protocol drought.
Which means what for the residents?
It means the city and its partner jurisdictions are requiring a 5 to 10% reduction in overall water use.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so you have normal households and local lawn care businesses being heavily rationed, which, acts as this invisible tax on their daily operations.
But at the exact same time, these giant industrial data centers, they require massive cooling towers.
Right, because servers run incredibly hot.
Right. So they evaporate thousands of gallons of water an hour just to keep the servers from melting. It creates this direct resource competition between the native population and the new corporate machinery.
So a local landscaping business might get a fine for watering sod.
Well, an AI server farm consumes a small river's worth of water just up the street.
Yes, that is wild. And we see this exact same paralysis in the local real estate market, don't we?
We do. Big tech is buying up so much commercial land that it's artificially inflating the price of every normal home in the county.
Yeah, the reports say the median property valuation has jumped to $323,000.
But actual local home sales volume has plummeted by 25% year over year.
I assume that drop in sales volume is directly tied to mortgage rates, right? Like locking people in place.
It completely paralyzes housing mobility.
Yeah.
I mean, the math makes moving nearly impossible for the middle class right now.
Because we're looking at a national 30-year mortgage rate hovering around, what, 6.5%?
Yeah, 6.5%. So imagine you bought a standard 3-bedroom house in the Foothills back in 2020.
When rates were at like 3%.
Exactly. A great financial move at the time. Incredibly lucky timing.
Right.
But now, maybe your family grows or you change jobs, and you want to buy the exact same style of house just across town.
But because interest rates have more than doubled to 6.5%?
And big tech has driven the underlying property valuations so high.
Your monthly payment wouldn't just go up slightly, it would likely double.
Exactly.
So what do you do?
I mean, I stay put. I don't sell. I just cram a bunk bed into the spare room and make it work. Which means housing inventory completely vanishes. Entry-level buyers are just totally boxed out because home prices are way higher than the standard local wage structure can comfortably carry.
And the borrowing costs are heavily punishing. It's like inviting 1,000 people to a house party but only having one bathroom.
That's a perfect analogy.
The system just backs up. But wait, this makes me wonder if commercial property values are soaring because of these massive tech footprints. Shouldn't the local county governments be rolling in new tax revenue?
That is the logical assumption, yes.
So why aren't they just using all that new corporate tax money to upgrade the local plumbing,
Right.
literally and figuratively, and, build more infrastructure?
Well, to understand why local governments are struggling to pay for this, we really have to look at the state level first.
Okay.
Down in Raleigh, the state legislative leaders just broke a grueling 9-month budget deadlock.
Oh, right. I read about this.
Yeah, and the core piece of that deal involved hard-coding aggressive income tax cuts, moving toward a permanently capped target of 3.49%.
3.49%, which is specifically designed to keep North Carolina as this low overhead haven for corporate capital, right?
Exactly. It's exactly the kind of policy that attracts Microsoft and Meta to the state in the first place.
Right. But when Raleigh permanently shrinks its own revenue-generating capacity like that, it structurally limits the state's ability to fund large-scale infrastructure projects in rural and semi-rural counties.
Precisely. The state essentially shifts the burden downward.
So when Raleigh caps its tax intake to look attractive to big business, the local counties end up inheriting the massive bill for the physical wear and tear of all this high-speed growth.
Yeah, and that dynamic leads us directly into the real-time local tax collision.
Which is honestly maybe the most dramatic piece of our source stack today. We are tracking this physical strain straight into the local political battleground in Catawba County.
And the numbers here are genuinely shocking.
Yeah.
Catawba County is currently facing a massive $264 million near-term school facility deficit.
$264 million. So the foundation of the public education system literally physically needs expansion.
Yes. But to make matters more complicated for the local budget, at the state level, North Carolina's Opportunity Scholarship Program is actively diverting $589 million in taxpayer funding to private schools.
Right. So the education funding map is fragmenting significantly, but the physical building bills for those overcrowded public county schools remain entirely local.
And you cannot pay a construction crew with a good bond rating. It requires direct cash extraction.
Right, actual dollars. So to address this incredible $264 million deficit, the Catawba County manager recommended a $369.7 million budget for the upcoming year.
Which represents a 9.2% increase overall.
Yeah. And the core mechanism to fund that budget was a proposed 2.5-cent property tax hike.
And the county was very explicit about where that money was going.
Right. The tax hike was designed to raise $8.1 million, and they were officially earmarking over $10.8 million from the general fund, specifically to expand 5 local middle schools to handle the shifting population.
But wait, here is the massive breaking contradiction in our source material.
Yes. Literally tonight, June 8th, 2026.
Commissioner Cole Setzer announced on Facebook that the county commission and the manager have completely restructured the budget.
Meaning there will be no property tax hike this upcoming year?
None. They kill the tax increase at the 11th hour.
A dramatic last-minute political pivot. But, I mean, I have to play the skeptic here. You don't just find $264 million in the couch cushions.
No, you definitely don't.
So they just made a massive school facility problem disappear without raising taxes? That sounds like maxing out a credit card and then hiding the bill in a drawer so you don't have to look at it.
Yeah.
What are the actual consequences of delaying these massive infrastructure costs while the tech boom around them just continues to scale at light speed?
This raises an important question about the profound difference between solving a problem and deferring a cost.
Yeah.
The county is actively trying to protect its low-tax, business-friendly identity, which makes sense politically. But deferring maintenance does not erase the cost of a crumbling foundation.
Because the structural wear and tear is compounding every single day. It seems like a trap.
It really is. By keeping taxes low to attract businesses, those massive businesses arrive, they chew up the roads, they crowd the schools, and they demand more emergency services.
And we can see those hidden costs creeping into the ledger anyway, right?
Exactly. While residents are dodging a direct property tax hike today, the county is still quietly adding significant administrative overhead to handle the industrial scale-up.
Like the new EMS crew, the new budget still includes funding for a brand new Hickory-based emergency crew.
Because when you build massive industrial centers, you inherently need more ambulances and first responders as just a basic protective hedge.
Right, and they are also creating a new specialized administrative position, a tax property appraiser.
Interesting.
Yeah. So instead of raising the tax rate, the county is adding headcount to audit and capture the rising land valuations driven by the tech industrial land rush.
So the administrative machinery is expanding to capture revenue in other ways.
Exactly. So the capacity bill is definitely still coming due, even if it has been temporarily restructured to look, more palatable to the voters.
And this brings us to the most painful contradiction of the ESR protocols. Because even with the local tax freeze in Catawba County, everyday households are still suffocating financially.
Yeah, the divergence between the high-altitude economic data and the dirt-level reality of consumer debt is incredibly sharp right now.
The post-pandemic cash cushions that families spent years building up are just completely gone.
Yeah. The data from the intelligence reports shows that credit card serious delinquency, meaning accounts that are 90 days or more past due, has jumped to 10.7% over the past year.
10.7%. And auto loan serious delinquency has climbed to 9.2%.
Wow.
We need to be really clear about what this debt represents, though. These are not people financing luxury vacations or massive flat-screen televisions.
No, not at all.
Credit cards have basically transitioned from a tool for discretionary shopping into a high-interest safety valve just for basic household survival.
People are putting standard weekly groceries and gasoline on credit, hitting their maximum limits, and watching their minimum monthly payments just absolutely spike.
And when you hit that wall, you have to actively choose between keeping your car so you can get to work or paying your credit card so you can buy food.
It's awful. And if we want to understand why those basic living costs, especially groceries and gas, are so relentlessly expensive despite local wages rising, we have to look overseas.
Right, because the squeeze isn't just local. It is a global friction point.
The global surcharge. We've got a war overseas acting as an invisible tax on a daily commute down Highway 321.
That's precisely how it functions. Brent crude oil has latched above $109 a barrel right now.
$109.
Yeah, and this is driven heavily by ongoing geopolitical conflict in the Middle East, specifically the friction and blockades around the Strait of Hormuz.
So because of this instability, maritime insurance actuaries are looking at the risk of ships being targeted.
And they are demanding massive premiums for ocean tankers. Global cargo fleets are now baking a geopolitical risk premium, roughly $20 a barrel permanently, into their freight contracts.
Okay, but how does a ship sitting in a port halfway across the world make life more expensive for, say, a factory worker in Catawba County?
Because that upstream ocean premium trickles all the way down into the physical supply chain.
Oh.
It artificially inflates the manufacturing cost of all petroleum-derived raw materials.
Oh, okay.
Think about the local industries down there. The optical fiber cable coating, the industrial plastics, the foam and the furniture factories.
It is all petroleum-based.
Yes. So these local businesses are paying significantly more just to produce their baseline goods.
And it hits the consumer directly at the pump as well, right?
The U.S. Energy Information Administration, the EIA, is projecting a structural baseline floor of $3.88 for a gallon of gasoline.
Meaning it fundamentally does not drop below that price.
That 3.88 gasoline floor operates as a regressive, non-discretionary tax. Every extra dollar a worker spends just to idle in traffic commuting to these new high-tech factories is a dollar that cannot be used to pay down their 10.7% delinquent credit card debt.
Or spend at a local retail store.
Exactly.
And because of this global friction, the Federal Reserve is effectively trapped. The International Monetary Fund, the IMF, is officially warning the Fed to stay cautious.
Yeah, they're projecting that the 2% inflation target might not be reached until the end of 2027.
2027. Which ensures the era of higher for longer interest rates is firmly embedded in the system. The high rates aren't going anywhere.
No, they aren't.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? We are essentially stuck in a vice.
A total vice.
You've got geopolitical conflict overseas inflating the cost of the raw materials your local factories need and the gas you put in your car.
And on the other side of the vice, you have high interest rates punishing you if you fall even slightly behind on your household debt,
while keeping you completely locked out of the housing market.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, this is the true manifestation of the fixed cost collision. The high-altitude economy is booming. I mean, billions of dollars are being deployed locally.
New factory slabs are being poured?
Yes, and national unemployment remains historically low. But the dirt-level household engine is running completely dry.
Yeah.
The structural costs of living, combined with the local resources required to support these massive corporate infrastructures, are drastically outpacing the working capital of the native population.
So the business-friendly tax cuts end up acting as a trap that basically forces everyday citizens to pay for corporate infrastructure via inflation and utility strain.
It is a phenomenal irony. The very things making the region rich on paper are making the actual residents feel poorer.
It really is. So to quickly recap our journey today, we started by looking at how AI-driven data centers and fiber optic expansions are draining the physical resources of Catawba County.
Right down to local water restrictions and specialized labor shortages.
Right. And then we watched a dramatic 11th hour local tax freeze unfold as the county desperately tries to maintain its business-friendly identity while staring down a $264 million school facility deficit.
Yeah.
And finally, we connected the dots to show how global oil shocks and maritime insurance premiums are squeezing local credit cards and household margins.
The physical reality of the digital economy is messy, and the ledger always balances somewhere.
It absolutely does. For those of you tracking the data this week, keep an eye on a few upcoming reports.
Yeah, what should they look out for?
We have the National Consumer Price Index, the CPI, dropping on June 10th, and the Producer Price Index, the PPI, following on June 11th.
Those numbers will tell us exactly how hot that inflation engine is still running in the face of these global oil prices.
Definitely. Also, a quick but crucial reminder for anyone in the Foothills region, June 12th is the absolute deadline for the USDA block grant related to agricultural disaster recovery from Hurricane Helene.
Oh, that's important.
Very. That paperwork window is closing rapidly, and that recovery funding is vital for local farms and forestry trying to rebuild their own capacity.
Absolutely. Well, we'll leave you with a final thought to ponder as we wrap up today's analysis.
Go for it.
Right now, Catawba County just managed to hit the pause button on property tax hikes to protect its business-friendly identity. But if the state of North Carolina is permanently capping its income tax to corporate capital, and global tech giants keep expanding their massive, resource-heavy, multi-billion-dollar footprints right in your backyard, what happens next year or the year after when the physical grid can no longer support the digital boom.
And there is no more room to restructure the local budget.
Exactly. When the pipes crack, the roads crumble, and the schools overflow, who finally pays the foundation of the future?
That is the multi-million-dollar question. It turns out when you drop a massive twin-turbo tech engine into a quiet country road chassis, eventually something has to give.
It always does.
You cannot outrun the physical limits of infrastructure. Thank you for joining us on today's deep dive. Keep questioning the numbers behind the headlines, stay curious, and we will catch you next time.
Until next time, keep looking at the bigger picture.